This is the plaintiff, Mitchell Cohen. He says he and the defendant had a deal to trade their matching 1991 Firebirds, but because the defendant's was in better condition, he agreed to pay the difference in their value and gave him a check for $500. His car died before they actually exchanged the cars. They called off the deal, and now he's having one heck of a time recovering that $500 check. The guy has caused him nothing but problems. He's now out $1,200 because of him. That's exactly what he's suing for today. This is the defendant, Jeremy Valenza. He says the plaintiff gave him a $500 deposit for a car he was selling. Then he called the deal off. Now he wants his deposit returned? Well, everyone knows deposits on cars are non-refundable, and the guy can leave all the threatening messages he wants on his phone. He simply doesn't owe him any money. He's accused of holding on tight.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff and the defendant agreed to trade their matching 91 Firebirds, but the plaintiff threw in an extra $500. Plaintiff's car died and he called off the deal and wants his money back. But the defendant says, sorry, non-refundable. It's the case of, I'll give you the bird, but not the 500.
Thank you, Douglas. Mr. Cohen, you are suing Mr. Valenza for $1,200 that you say you are out and that he is inappropriately keeping from you, $500 for a deposit, $500 for a private investigator, and $200 for loss of work and having to sue. Tell me about it.
Basically was looking on Craigslist to buy a car, a Firebird, late 80s or early 90s. And when I saw Mr. Valenza's ad for a 91 Firebird for $3,000. So I called the phone number and I arranged a meeting at his parents' house. And I went to see the car, and when I saw the car, it looked a little different than the picture. I mean, it had like a spray paint job. The door jambs didn't match. Had a mismatched interior. Tires were bald. Headlights didn't flip up. So you just had to have it. I should. Well, I had a Firebird too that wasn't in such great shape either. So I'm good at fixing things. So I figured maybe I could.
So what was better about this one than yours? Because you had the same car, a 91 Firebird.
I think it had less miles on it for one thing. Also, the odometer didn't work. There were several things.
If the odometer didn't work, then how would you know if it had fewer miles than yours?
Mine had a lot of miles on it. It had to have fewer than mine. Okay. But anyway, it wasn't really worth $3,000. So we agreed to maybe do a trade with some cash.
Okay, so what was your deal?
The deal was I was going to bring the car back the next week, my car. I sent him some pictures, and basically I was going to give him some more cash. I think it was $900 more.
How much? What, according to you, what was the deal?
$1,400 cash plus his vehicle for my vehicle.
Okay, and then when you say $900 more, because you gave him $500,
right?
And that's why we're here, really, because you gave him $500 originally as a deposit.
Yeah,
so you're supposed to come back with the car and $900 more. So we're in agreement about what the deal is. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and about
is there any paperwork when you give him that money?
No,
no receipt. You give him cash, and there's no.
I gave him a check.
Oh, you gave him a check. All right. Do you have the check with you?
I have a copy of it. Yes.
Yeah. Let me see. Did you write anything on the memo line?
It says for Firebird.
Okay. All right, so go on.
Basically what happened was a couple days later, I noticed oil drizzling out of my car. So I replaced the part that was broken, which was an oil pressure sensor. And right after I replaced it, the car would not start, no matter what I did.
Okay.
So I took it to a mechanic, and they messed around with it for about a day, and they didn't really know what was wrong with it. So
what kind of mechanic did you take it to?
It was Amco.
Okay.
It was across the street from where the car stopped.
They couldn't fix it?
I don't know what was going on.
I think you do. What did they say? How much was it going to cost to fix?
No, they didn't say anything about what it would cost. They said the mechanic would look at it, and the guy looked at it and didn't know, and it kind of was taking a while.
That doesn't usually happen. They usually can't wait to make you part with your money. So they usually give you an estimate of what it's going to cost to fix.
Honestly, they didn't. And then I tried to fix it. I bought a fuel pump for it. I bought a computer for it, and it's still not running to this day. I think it's some kind of fuel pressure shut-off switch somewhere. Okay. I don't know. I'm not a real mechanic.
Right.
But anyway, that's the truth. I honestly couldn't get it running. So when that happened, I called Jeremy, and told him what was going on, and he said, well, just keep me updated as to what's going on with it. And I said, if you have anybody else that wants to buy the car, sell it to them. So basically, a couple of days later, I get a text from him saying, I've cashed your check. You owe me $2,500 due today only.
Okay, but wait, you're skipping a bunch of stuff that happens in the meantime, aren't you?
Not really.
Okay, according to you, what happens in the meantime?
In the meantime, basically I told him about the check that when he came through on Wednesday, which was the final date for us to, finish up this whole deal, that I was going to basically,
Wait, did he call you on Wednesday and tell you I can't make it because
Exactly. He just basically kept calling me and telling me that his car wasn't working, and the deal that we had arranged for was $1,400 plus a running Firebird for a running Firebird.
Right.
I believe on Tuesday or Monday, he calls me up and tells me that the car is at the shop and the car is not working and yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, all right, fine. When you come by, either, scrap the car and get $500, or I'll give you $500 for a car that's not running and you can bring it to me, and then just make up the difference. And nothing happened on Wednesday, so I kept dealing with him until Saturday. Saturday morning, I figured, well, the day that we had set up for the deal was Wednesday, so Wednesday has come and passed. I'm going to cash this check.
Wait, all this is happening, you haven't cashed a check?
I haven't cashed a check because...
Oh my gosh, bird in the hand, man.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't stop payment on the check.
That's what I thought would happen.
Right.
Exactly. So
well, that's what most people would think would happen. That's why most people would run, not walk, to the bank branch of where he drew that check from and cash the check.
Yeah, I was surprised myself, but I was still willing to do the trade. After a couple of texts back and forth, it got a little bit, I guess he was demanding his money.
Because at that point, you were offering him, all right, I'll give you $500 for a non-working one.
Yeah.
At this point, you were trying to strike another deal with him.
Strike another deal, exactly.
And this is what you mean when you say, well, we didn't have a deal, because he's trying to strike a deal. You don't like the deal he's trying to strike, right?
Okay, can you just, boom, cancel a contract when you want? I mean, if you do it quickly.
No. Once it's signed, it's signed.
Once it's signed, it's signed. You buying that?
No.
What do?
You rip up the contract?
But you've signed the contract.
Yeah, but if you rip it up and it doesn't exist anymore and you haven't taken a copy of it?
Oh, so you just want to be kind of crooked.
Well, yeah.
Okay, an honest Irishman going inside the courtroom.
The reason I didn't put a stop payment on it was because, it was in good faith that we were going to...
What's the good faith? What's the point of giving him a deposit if it's not for you to part with your money?
Well, yeah, of course it's to part with the money. We were supposed to go through with the deal.
Right, I understand that. And when you don't go through with the deal through no fault of his, why would he have to return the deposit? Why don't you have to go and fix your car?
I was trying to.
Why don't you have to go and listen, it's not that hard. Apparently you tinker. So what you don't want is to have to pay what you're going to have to pay to fix the car. So if you paid what you had to pay to fix the car, then you could go through with the contract. You chose as a business matter that it's not worth it for you, and that's fine. But be honest about it. So then whose fault is it that you can't consume the deal you did have? It's your fault. It broke on you, but it's not like you deliberately broke your car, but it's within your power to fix it. It's just that you don't want it to cost you. You want it to cost him. You want him to have to return what by default is a non-refundable deposit. When you give a deposit, the deposit is to do something. It's to take it off the market. It's to show good faith. I love when plaintiffs say that. Show good faith, but you got to return it because now I have bad faith. Like the idea is that you're a serious buyer and you're willing to risk $500. If you're no longer willing to risk $500, then it's like saying, here, hold my shoe. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything for him. You can't do anything with one shoe. Okay, how is it? I don't understand something. You're suing for $500 deposit back. I understand that, obviously. And then you're also suing for $500 in investigator fees.
Well, you see, what happened was what he just said was untrue. I tried to contact him over and over again, and I couldn't get him to answer the phone or get a hold of him. So I tried to get a private investigator to talk to him to ask him to give me my money back. That's simply what happened.
Wait, I want to understand this. You paid an investigator $500? I can't hear your answer.
Yes, I did.
This isn't just some friend of yours who doctored this up for court for you?
No.
I would rather think it was. You know why? Because I'm desperately trying to understand why a man would pay $500.
Well, I didn't know it was going to cost that much.
Wait just a second. To at best get $500, net sum gain to you, zero.
It was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. You did do that.
I know. I didn't think it would cost that much, Your Honor.
How do you not know what the guy's going to cost you before the guy costs you?
Yeah, well, it was way more expensive than I thought it would be.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Who pays $500 to maybe get $500?
It didn't work out so well for me.
Don't go to Vegas. Here's my advice. Just don't go to Vegas. Yeah.
The reason I had stopped communication with him was because he was getting kind of vulgar on the phone. But
How was he getting vulgar on the phone?
I never talked to him after that.
He's talking about
before that. How was he getting vulgar?
He left me messages on my phone prior to this investigator calling me up and also telling me that I needed to give back the money and this and that and the third, which I
What was the vulgar part?
Basically saying that I better pack a toothbrush because I'm in trouble now. I'm basically claiming that I'm going to jail for what I'm doing.
Right. As a matter of fact, there's a text that he sends you telling you that you're about to go to jail for fraudulent checks, which is absurd.
Exactly.
It's your check.
And
I was just
trying
to get it back.
I don't know. I just didn't want to deal with him over the phone because there's no proof of what he said and didn't say over a phone call.
When you two aren't explicit about whether a deposit is refundable or not, it's the judge's job to look at the facts of the case and try to determine the intent of the parties. And the intent of the parties in this case is it's a done deal. It only didn't go through thanks to you breaching the contract. And therefore, it's a non-refundable deposit. I find in favor of the defendant in this case. That's my verdict.
And so there's nothing that the courts can do to get your deposit back for you. This is a case that you just have to eat the result.
I guess so.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't receive anything from him. We never really had a solid deal on anything, and I'm out $500. So.
Yeah. Well, what would you have done differently if you had that deal to do over again? Maybe get certain things in writing?
No, I wouldn't have given him a deposit.
Mm-hmm. All right. And this friend of yours who took $500 to be a private investigator, this is a friend of yours?
No, I don't know the guy.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I met him in an office.
Okay. All right. Head right down this way. And all right. So put yourself in his shoes. What do you think happened here?
He basically put himself in a bad deal. And I don't see how I'm responsible for that at all. So,
So you still have the car? Your car?
I do.
Yours runs?
Mine runs.
What are you going to do with that car?
Sell the car.
You're going to sell it to somebody else?
Restore it and continue to restore.
Hey, what are you going to do with the $500?
I've already invested it in more car parts. So.
Okay. Harvey?
You know, I mean, the reality is you can cancel a contract when you went and say, look, I'm not going to go through with it. The fact is there are consequences and you got to pay damages. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.